Donald Trump set the absolute internet on fire with a True Social post from last night, calling out the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, directly online in front of all of America and the world. He is demanding action. He is demanding arrest. He's demanding accountability, the same level of accountability the Democrat Party held Donald Trump to, the former president, now the current president of the United States. And he says here that he's being pressured, received over 30 statements and posts that are basically saying, where is the action, Pam? Pam Bondi is under fire. Nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam Schiff, Letitia James? We saw that Comey's indictment was rescinded, and now we're trying to get it back in court. The same thing happened with Letitia James. We've seen just a couple of low-level hanging fruit indictments, and we want more. We demand more. And Trump calls out the entire Justice Department for the lack of action. And he says right here, we can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and accountability. They impeached me twice. They indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now. As Glenn Beck, a very prominent host of the Blaze Network, calls for action. He said he is tired and he is fed up.
I don't know about you, but I'm tired. I am worn out. I am fed up. I've had enough. I am tired of exposing corruption, doing our homework, going overseas and having documents translated to make sure they're exactly right, presenting the evidence. We know what's happening, except then once we expose it, nothing happens. Nobody goes to jail. Nobody pays for a damn thing anymore. If you and I did half the things that people in Washington do every day, you and I would go to prison. Clinton got away with it. Even the left knew that the Clinton Foundation was dirty. They sold uranium to our biggest enemy, Russia. Nothing. No. She can take confidential, top secret emails and put them on her server at her home. Something you and I would go to prison for. We would be in prison for the rest of our lives. Not a big deal. Benghazi? No. Not only did we show you that we were gun running to a group in Syria that became ISIS, that's what we were doing in Benghazi. Not only that, but just the killing of a U.S. ambassador, and, might I point out on Veterans Day, we abandon our troops. Nothing. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of actually being open and saying, okay, well, let's look into the spying on this presidential candidate. That's a pretty hefty charge. Were they doing it? And then finding out, yes, they were, and nothing happens.
I think Glenn Beck nails it here. And he piggybacks right along with what Donald Trump said. We are tired of nothing happening. We are tired of not seeing real action. We are tired of the American people being held to one standard, and the elites or anyone that's ever been elected to any level of office within the government being protected. Where are the standards? We hate double standards. We want accountability. We want a day of reckoning. We want these people to have their day in court. And we want it to happen while Donald Trump is actually in office. Quit dragging your feet.
So every boat we knock out of the water, every boat, we save 25,000 American lives. That was a boat loaded up with drugs. I saw the video. They were trying to turn the boat back to where it could float. And we didn't want to see that because that boat was loaded up with drugs just like everything else. But
who does not feel okay by saving American lives? 25,000 American lives on average for each boat that we stop coming in. If you go and check out a video I put out yesterday, there are ties, there are rumors, there's alleged information coming out that Senator Rand Paul and a handful of other elected officials had received campaign donations from the Maduro and Venezuelan regime up to and including some of the cartels. And I wouldn't put it past. This is all alleged, but the information is slowly coming out from whistleblowers in Venezuela.
So we'll ask again, where did Ilhan Omar get all that darn money from? Let's go through it. When she first ran for Congress in 2018, she was married to a Somalian man named Ahmed Nur Said Elmi, and she had a net worth of approximately $65,000. Not a ton of money, but $65,000. By 2020, a whole 2 years later, Ilhan had already divorced and remarried another Somalian man by the name of Ahmed Aladizian Herzi, and her net worth was still right around $65,000. Yet just 4 years later, she was divorced and remarried again for a third or perhaps a fourth time. We don't know for sure because Ilhan Omar likely married her brother at one point to get him into this country illegally when she came here from Somalia, which, by the way, is a federal crime.
The federal crime that no one wants to talk about except for Finnerty over here on Newsmax. You're not seeing Fox, CNN, MS Now, or any of these other liberal agencies talk about this. And that's a problem. That's a real problem. Because if you want transparency, if you want to gain any level of credibility, the good and the bad, the good is that we know what kind of crimes that she's committed.
And she's serving in Congress. And nobody talks about this. So by 2024, Ilhan's married to a new person, a white guy named Tim. There's Tim Minette. And Tim is not a rich man, but now he is. Tim's rich now because somehow over the course of the last 3 years, Ilhan Omar's net worth has skyrocketed to over $30 million and counting, meaning she went from having right around $65,000 to $30 million in 3 years. Think about that. Powerball drawing is tonight. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Ilhan Omar did not win the lottery.
If you had friends and family that saw you have a 46,000% increase in your net worth, they're going to start asking questions. Where did Ilhan Omar get all the money? We're just asking questions here, right? Where do you think it came from? I'd love to get your opinion. Leave a comment down below. Are we going to see any accountability here? Or will this be just another little bit of dirt scraped under the rug?
Well, right now, Jesse, I just heard from Hakeem Jeffries that he doesn't want to have his Democrats sign on to the legislation, even though 100 members of Congress, both Democrats and Republicans, have actually said that they want to support this coalition bill because of the fact that it does include the executive branch. But here's the interesting fact, Jesse. If Congress was required to adhere to the same standards that the executive branch is under, there would be no insider trading. And it is happening on both sides, and it needs to end. And so I'm formally calling on both Speaker Johnson and Hakeem Jeffries to do what they can, huddle if you need be, but come up with a consensus bill and put it on the floor before the end of the year, because 87% of Americans want this to end. And it has.
I am all for insider trading to be ended and stopping members of Congress from trading stock. I'm all for that. But before the end of the year, I want something other than this. Representative Luna, Jesse Waters, and anyone else that's watching, I want voter ID. And I know it's crazy we even have to talk about this in the United States. Insider trading is amazing, but we're never going to get rid of the people that get in there to do the trading unless we shut down this pipeline where people can come through our borders and then go and vote. We have to get voter ID. I love what's happening here. I love that Representative Luna is putting the ownership on Hakeem Jeffries and on Mike Johnson. But damn, we've got other fish to fry. And the days, every day that we sit back and nothing happens is one more day wasted where we have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. We've got to make this happen quickly.
Organization that's rallying young people, causing a shift in the political leanings of a generation for the first time in history, is now in dire straits. Their leader and founder murdered, and prominent pieces of human trash are trying to destroy it. It's fucking evil. So you know what? When someone pulls in front of my property and fires on it several times, I'm sitting here looking at these vile pieces of shit and thinking to myself, for what purpose will I stick my neck out if this is what happens after Charlie Kirk is killed? Candace Owens is a scumbag. She is a degenerate. She
So Tim Pool, if you watch his show, if you don't, that's up to you. But Tim Pool's house was shot up. Apparently some people shot at his home. And Tim Pool brings up the fact that Candace Owens and some of these other members of the alt-right are splitting the party. They're splitting the conservative movement. And why would you go after the biggest and best conservative organization after Charlie Kirk was assassinated? Why would you choose to do that? And he is calling out some of these alt-right individuals, Candace, Ian Carroll, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker Carlson. They have all sort of changed since Donald Trump took office. Some of the faces you recognize there, some of them are being accused of being feds. Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, Alex Jones. I don't know where you stand on this, but it's a very relevant topic for what's happening right now. Conservatives used to only have one enemy, and that was the Democrat movement, the Democrat Party. But now we are being torn apart from within by these little factions. It's time to come together, or they'll all be shut down.
I think the mistake they made, and I've said on my podcast, she should have never become the CEO and chairman overnight. Because now, when people have questions, you got to answer them, right? You're not just a grieving widow, which there has to be respectability for and space and allowing her to be a mother. But you very quickly decided that you were equipped to be Charlie. Well, guess what? That's going to be a trial by fire. Okay, Charlie had to go through it. It's painful. The public's going to go.
Is Candace Owens jealous of Erica Kirk becoming the CEO? Is she jealous of the organization that she chose to leave and chose to go work at the Daily Wire? Is this woman scorned? Is that enough for her to go after a conservative movement? And I believe that's what Tim Pool is very upset with, because Candace Owens has a very large audience, and it's time for us to come together. Whether you like who's in charge of the organization or not, it could be the only organization we have right now that's really putting the fight to the Democrat Party. I really appreciate you watching this morning. This is a quick rundown of all the news that I think you should be aware of when you get to work, so you can sit around the coffee pot or around the kitchen and talk about what's happening, what's relevant, and what's occurring behind the scenes that maybe you missed. I try to go through this stuff so that you don't have to, saving you time. Smash that like and subscribe button if you like content like this, and I will see you in the next one.